Good morning, everyone. Today is the 14th of October, and I have a message of the day that I started last night. I wasn't able to finish it till this morning, and then I had some stuff that came up this morning, and then the rest of the read was very profound as well as the initial message. So I wanted to give that to you separately from my reads today. The cards in front of you is what I read this morning that I didn't get to last night, and then here is the read that I started from last night, so you can get a grasp of that picture, okay? So that's the initial read. The underlying energies are over here, and then it went one, two, this way, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then the last one is down there below. And then there's this one that you see in front of you, which is the end, which was this morning. So here goes. Besides the message, I did want to bring up the energies that I've been getting yesterday and today. Again, I was getting the solar systems with the double earths and the double moons of the matching solar system coming into our field, into this universal field. That was one of the energies I was getting, as well as the end of an era. That when my flower basket broke, it was an end of an era. That was the night yesterday, going into the morning yesterday, the 13th, which the 13 is the death or an ending, which fits. And then we have Love on the Spectrum, which is amazing. I watched the last show last night, which was the marriage of one of the couples, which was just really beautiful because they're just so pure and innocent. And also the show Maids was coming up, which I didn't realize till just now because this message in front of you had a lot to do with what came up this morning. And then also what was coming up for me was, where did I write that down? Hailstorms could be coming in, but I was also getting attacks and explosions, that kind of energy. The rescue distance, the crow's distance that I've been bringing up recently, again is right the shortest distance between 2 points, the rescue distance coming up, and that was at 10:04 last night. So here's the message of the day that started last night, and I'll let you know when it switches to what's in front of you. So, and that was today. So, and today is the 14th. It's the 14 of Temperance, which is patience and balance, that higher love, the angels, and the day adds up to 29, which is the 3 of Wands, being very present in the moment, perhaps your ship's coming in, but also just, again, just being very present and also aware of the gift that you are. Yeah, that was very significant. So the message last night was, sorry, I moved it. This was at 12:58 a.m. last night, very late. So it's actually today, and today's date, the 14th. The 12 of the Hangman, the 58 of the Four of Swords, and the underlying energy was the Zebra, the Well, the Devil reversed, and the Main Male. And these are the 4 decks I usually use for this. The Animal Spirit Guidebook, the Lenormand Reverie, the Gilded Tarot, and then the Kipper deck. So eclectic, with third eye open, digging deep, detoxing the Main Male. Swans, the 2 as 1 energy, transformed like a moth to the flame, with the zebra as the zebra is to its stripes. Writing a letter or communication to cut to the chase about your wishes. A new passion destined with a magic new love, as lovers share with the Knight of Wands, losing patience to move to peace and detox. Occupying, or perhaps an occupation, in energetic exchange, the man thinking of a woman, and I'm getting again the scent of a woman, suddenly, or some kind of sudden event energy of the man thinking of a woman suddenly, or with an epiphany about her, or the destined journey to unexpected income and new passion for the Main Male magician. The hyena and elk then came up, confused about which doors to open, the wounded warrior reversed, surrendering post-war, with the lady with expectation then coming together in the journey of the King of Wands, who's the man of passion, to the courthouse with papers. Then the tarantula at the Y in the road, and the horse, which I always refer to as Mr. Ed, or the God energy, Saggy, and the mouse here who's nitpicky, and the community here with direction, but without emotion to ground into. The injustice of a split, lies, divide, the BS, and the synchronicities and options and confusion, and the ship going nowhere, and needing to get the message to the privileged lady, the two wise ones hanging out in joy together, the atlas of the way to the world with the vehicle to hang out in with the privileged lady. And literally 3 12s were coming up in that section, which is a whole lot of wisdom there. And it's also the 36 of the Atlas energy, the weight of the world. And it was funny, the swans have been coming up so much in multiple decks. The 2 swans is one. And then when I was watching, whatever I was watching last night, they were talking about the person who bartends at the Swan, and that was at 1:48 last night. So then the sea serpent and the tiger came up, which is very sensual energy, right? Which is the feminine. The man with temper and lucky charms, right? The guy who gets the girls, the man with the temper and lucky charms, and the Queen of Wands reversed with the Queen of Cups reversed, right? They're both not in their power. The false person and or false couple, and the mature woman and or mother, the twin flame and the high priestess, dancing with mother or is a mother here. So again, and some of the energies that were coming up last night is the single mother, the abused mother who has to leave with her child, or the homeless mother even with the child was very much coming up last night. The shark and the unicorn, or the odd couple, crossing bridges with wise counsel, hanging out, struggling to get out to the Page of Swords upright, or get that message out. The thief in prison with no way out. And then the octopus teacher and the vulture comes up here as the cleanup crew. Dr. Jackal and Mr. Hyde. I was getting Dr. Jacket there too. Dr. Jackal and Mr. Hyde with an anchor, with their cards close to their chest, right? Not letting people know what they feel, with the Emperor in control, retaining that control as the official person, with a child in poverty, whether it's your inner child or your actual child in poverty. The dance of the journey here of unconditional love. This is the wounded warrior's dance on the journey of unconditional love. The whale, the lizard, the clam, and the hummingbird then came up as tired or wiped out. The lizard shut up with high vibe clearing here, right? So getting someone to shut up so that they can hear. The breakthrough at night, the right timing to seed the details of sunshine and exposure, 204, which is the high priestess and the emperor. The insecure in establishment of healing, but uncomfortable with judication or working things out with the wealthy man or a lawyer to be hired over a marriage in despair. So the lover's journey, grounding and integrating conflict, and obviously I'm having a lot of trouble speaking today. The union transition of the Empress on the journey too. Right? It's not just the masculine, it's the feminine, right? Because we both have the masculine and the feminine within us. Then the raccoon, the gazelle, and the dragon came up as sad, graceful protector. The obstacle of being committed to overcome abundance, which is the energetic exchange of the connection. The night feeling like a burden where you suffer in silence, and then all of a sudden hitting the jackpot with changes for a child or your inner child. The world of the Knight of Wands, right? That action of passion, in energetic exchange, in justice of the hermit and the child, or in other words, the little girl. So we're talking about the divine feminine today here mostly. But it's the feminine within the masculine and the feminine. So then I woke up today and I was actually watching Lee and Sherry, and it was just Lee today. He was with a men's group, which I found very interesting because there's not a lot of groups with masculines out there that you can listen to understand them better. And so, and it's funny because Lee tends to trigger me a lot, obviously, because it's a masculine energy, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this morning I received a delivery that I didn't order. Is one of those things where they, deceive you into auto delivery so that you get another delivery even though you didn't order it. And then, they count on the fact that a lot of people won't want to return it, so they'll end up making extra money, and it's stealing, right? So I received a delivery I didn't order, and then I was watching a bit of his video, and frustrated with the masculine side that shows a very unloving side, that energy of disrespect for the woman, that, kind of making light of the feminine, laughing at how women are. But, women do the same thing for the men. But again, it's the masculine side doing that about the female energy. So I'm not talking about men or women. It's the masculine side of both of us disrespecting the other. And of course, as a woman, you feel the energy of being disrespected regarding sexual attention or just attention in general, and the ego, right? Using women for sex, attention, and ego. And then what came up from all this was the word earn. Was a big revelation there, right? Because we have to earn money, right? And if you have trouble earning money, there's a worth issue there, right? And then we have to earn trust, right? Do you have trust? Do you give trust? And then we have to earn attention, right? Do you give attention? Do you receive attention? And then what's the opposite of earn is pay, right? And remember, we have these negative associations with these words because to pay means, people use that as you'll pay dearly, right? You'll pay too much. And yet you notice that not knowing how to earn and not wanting to pay too much, if you break down earn, it's literally the ear of Jesus, because N for me is code for Jesus. And if you break down pay, it's the pa, or the father, at the Y in the road. The father and the son, where there's no place for the mother and the daughter in this. Very significant there. So then, after I was watching that, I don't know why, but and I was triggered, so I was purging a little bit, and what came up all of a sudden was, because I was thinking back, at my parents and my issues with my parents and our relationship and their relationship and the grandparents and all that kind of stuff. And what came up out of nowhere was my mother's maid that we had when I was a little girl. My mother's maid, her name, back then they called them maids, not cleaning ladies. And her name was Mary, just like my mother's name. They were both Marys. Yet what I realized was how nurturing Mary was to us as our cleaning lady. I felt that nurturing from her that I didn't get from my mother. And I cried as soon as I thought of her, because I haven't thought of her in years. I barely remember her because I was a little girl. I'm not sure what age she stopped working for us. But anyway, so that came up. How loving she was. So those last cards that I hadn't got to last night, this is where I went back to those cards. I'm like, okay, I guess there's a message in here about this. And that was at 12:43 this afternoon. The hanging man and the coming together. In wisdom, perhaps, seeing a new perspective. So that started out, as you see in front of you up top, is the hawk, the deer one, the owl, the snake, the elephant, the bat, and the lamb. Clearing the way for the sweet dear one. And you notice they were broken up into 3 and 4, which is the empress and the emperor, the feminine and the masculine. Clearing the way for the sweet dear one and the wise owl in the collective awakening, with the elephant stampeding to protect the little girl, calling them names. It takes one to know one. Or in other words, the one who's calling you the elephant, which for me was my brother when I was little, because he is one too. And he used to call me an elephant to make fun of me, calling me the one with the big nose and the one who was fat. And now, the elephant is a wonderful creature to emulate, right? Because they're so wise and gentle, and protective as well. that energy was coming up today. And it's interesting because my brother, who's his birthday is a day apart from mine. So with the flame in the trunk, and the trunk was coming up as the dowry, and the third eye in the root, with the red in the root, your third eye shouldn't be in your root unless you're doing shadow work or clearing work to get to the root of the issue, but it's also coming up as the third eye en route, right? The elephant with the flame in the trunk or the flame in the dowry, which is interesting too, because don't all of us feminine have like a little pile of things that we'd love to put into a treasure chest for the divine masculine as a dowry? And the third eye in the root, the third eye en route for the masculine energy, or the left side en route, or in the root, and the masculine's third eye en route to that root with the left side in the root. The left ear is coming up here as trying to fly and not hear. The left ear, or the feminine, is coming up as the divine masculine's wing, a broken spider web and or spider with only 3 legs, and red, or seeing rage, in the left ear. The left ear is different than the right ear, or being deformed, that there's something wrong. It's making me want to cry. That there's something wrong with the feminine, that she's deformed, that she's floppy, like the divine masculine's left wrist, like the stiff upper lip, and being far from the earth, trying to get home. But you can only get home from within, not out of this world. The lamb is not seen and only partially heard. And when the story goes on, the lamb glazes over and goes to sleep. Right? So when you tell the bedtime story, you tell it so that a child will go to sleep. The hawk cracking the whip to start over with the feminine hardworking slave and slave labor. And there's where the maids are coming up, and the factory workers, the low-paying wages, unless you earn for sex on the street, or unless you earn in a good marriage, right? So listen to that again. As a feminine, you are worthy of low-paying wages unless you earn for sex, which where you get paid well for that is on the street or in a marriage. Dear one, loving lady in need of help, to bury the dead, the dowry, to close the case, the cold case file, the throwing away of the file or key, or archiving it, the burial, or losing a child or your inner child, and you had no burial for that, the ceremony, or work to the bones, or work to death, and then left. No one cared. No one reached out after that. The outer polar bear here, or the owl, who is the polar bear, right? The wise one, the pure wise one, can also be seen as very cold, the polar bear. The wise and cold polarized one, juggling for the community, but not for the one. At 118, which is the magician and the moon, as part of the community, but who's there at night for you, or when you cry to hold you? And for me, that was my Mother Mary maid. Which she can be, she might have seen herself as that as well, right? Not worth earning. She was very much a pillar of the community and did lots of work. But the one time she actually tried to go to work to earn money, she lasted for 2 weeks because she didn't have freedom there, right? And it's 224 on the clock, which is her soul number, 24, the Queen of Wands, and the 2 of the High Priestess. So the collective awakening, the loving man, the King of Pentacles upright, looking toward home with the silencing of the lamb, the lovers. She being clear, sweet, and wise, the whip and the staff, that's the feminine, the support part, the balance and the presence, the gifts and the shadow, the cold, the pure, the white, with focus on high vibration, with rainbows, but also great loss. Clearing the lower chakras of impatience, which is not allowing for stillness, and the Queen of Cups who's working too hard for peanuts. The sweet, balanced dear one, the loving lady grieving loss, and the upper chakra system of the owl, but is polarized into the shadow of the nothingness of the feminine energy to be love as the Knight of Cups for the community. If they're happy, you're happy. But no, if you're happy, you're happy. The collective of the divine masculine awakening as the loving man and the King of Pentacles and the shadow lovers, and she not wanting to be the Page of Pentacles reversed to the masculine's King of Pentacles upright. The Page of Pentacles reversed equates with death and the Son, Jesus. And the King of Pentacles upright equates with the lover, right? The one who is loved. That he deserves affection and she does not. The elephant never forgets at 131 the magician and the 31 of battles and expansion and also the pursuit of happiness as I was getting connection. The twin flame of the Knight of Cups here taking a chance and failed, needing attention and doing things under the radar. And the older man with concerns, right, as they get older. If they are able to stand up for themselves or be in unity, be Christ-like, the collective snake whispering in the elephant's right ear, where the left ear is distant from the earth or ungrounded. Where stability and the Emperor here is seeking home with the King of Wands, man of passion, without a temper and inspired to great fortune, or just to be creative. If her death is his great fortune, then her inner little boy hooks up with the community to care for her just in case. And his inner little girl goes to the nursing home or goes to be a nurse to the ill or to bad health. His lamb is the target, unless they're not seen or heard, hiding behind the patriarchy, the powers that be, and the sun, perhaps hiding away from them, even the sun. Standing up for self, but not on the high ground, staying down on their level, as opposed to allowing them to rise up, and then allowing themselves to level up, because it's too scary at the top. After all, planes hit the top, down. It's better safe than sorry, better ill than dead, better to be in humble service when you don't get paid your worth, competing and conflicted and slowly expanding, right? The safe way to go. So overall, what they were saying here at 144, that to be sweet, to be clear first, to be someone who is clear, who clears the way, means that you are, or equates with, impatient, that you are not a patient, that you are not willing to be still and allow someone else to care for you, that you are healthy, but that you don't accept help. To be sweet equates with being dumb. To be dead and buried, dumb. To be wise equates with being the cold, the one who juggles, who is loved by their community, but not the one. To be the collective good equates with you must be the loving man or the King of Pentacles or a sex symbol, but not just a regular old female. If you are big and powerful and you never forget, then you are risky and will ultimately fail with concerns of martyrdom. If you are a night owl or bat and see in the dark with radar or television off planet, you can have home and you can have stability and you can be a creative man and amass a great fortune. And if you are seen and not heard, or hiding and not seen at all, does the tree exist if no one sees it fall? Well, there is power in silence here and learning to stand up for yourself, but ultimately bad health for the tree, for having eaten your feelings along with your wealth, perhaps your own leaves. So I'm going to let you sit with that and breathe. Rise and be love, you guys. Bye.